Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Alyssa and I'm so glad to have you here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how I got pregnant after miscarriage. I know this is a really interesting topic and one that I think needs to be talked about more, so we're going to go into it right now. Before we do, I just want to say that this is my experience, my story, and some of the things I mentioned, some of the tips I mentioned may not work for everyone. But I just want to see, just want you guys to know kind of what I experienced, what I've been through, and I want to see if these things might help you. So that's why I'm doing this, is just to encourage you, to help you, but also just know that this is my experience and may not be yours. So yeah, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you have not hit that subscribe button yet, please do so if you enjoy motherhood videos and natural lifestyle videos. All right, let's get into the video. So I wanted to kind of give you the story of how I became a mama. So as I'm sure most of you know, I'm a mama. I have a beautiful little girl. Her name is Annabella. She is 8 months old now, and I love her with all of my heart. She is the light of my life and such a blessing from the Lord. But the journey to becoming a mama to her was not an easy one. Annabella was not my first pregnancy, and she's not my first baby. So my husband and I, when we were married for 2 years, we decided that it was time to try to have a baby. However, I had done some research and I had heard that it takes most women about 6 months or more to get pregnant. So I told my husband, hey, let's just try. It'll probably take us at least 6 months. And even though we weren't really ready, we didn't really have, our ducks in a row, so to speak, financially. We weren't really in a good living situation, but we thought, you know what, we're just going to try because we have at least 6 months until I even get pregnant, and then 9 months, during the pregnancy to change our situation. So we did, and I will never forget, that was December of 2016 that we decided that. And in January of 2017, I found out I was pregnant. So 1 month of trying, and boom, we were pregnant. I was completely and utterly shocked. And I'll be honest, I was terrified. Absolutely terrified. But of course, very excited too. I can't even explain to you guys the joy that I felt when I got that positive pregnancy test. I literally was shocked because the result came literally like 3 seconds after I peed on the stick. And that was because I think I was already like a week late on my period. So that was amazing. And so we immediately started to prepare. We're like, oh my goodness, we can't believe we're pregnant. So I think like very shortly after that, we found another apartment to move into, a 2-bedroom apartment. We went from living in a studio to a 2-bedroom. We moved very quickly after that, and we were getting all ready. And unfortunately, at our first ultrasound, very shortly after we had settled into our new apartment, I was 8 weeks pregnant, and we found out that our sweet baby had passed away and did not have a heartbeat. I cannot even describe to you how heartbreaking that was for us. It was just terrible. And those of you who have experienced miscarriage, you know how horrible and hard and just, yeah, it's terrible. I'm getting emotional. But anyone who's experienced that knows exactly what I mean. It feels like a bad dream. Like you go in there expecting to hear your baby's heartbeat and expecting to hear everything's good, and then you hear the opposite. So it was, needless to say, one of the worst experiences we'd ever gone through. And I'm not going to go into my story of my miscarriage here. I actually have another channel that my husband and I have made called Alyssa and Richard that I will link down below in the description box. And in that channel, we have a whole video dedicated to our miscarriage story. So if you're interested, please go check that out. But without going into the details here, I will just tell you that it was a very unusual miscarriage. And the reason for that was because my HCG pregnancy hormone levels were extremely unusually high. So when you're 8 weeks pregnant, kind of the normal range for your pregnancy hormones are anywhere between maybe about 10,000 and 30,000. And of course it can be more or less than that, but usually around that range. Well, when I was 8 weeks pregnant, my HCG hormone levels came back at 118,000. So you can imagine how concerned my doctor and I both were after getting those results, because that is not normal, generally not normal. I think it can be, but it's just not usual for someone who is that far along. So of course that made it a little bit different of a miscarriage. And but despite all of that and all the abnormalities that, again, I won't get into, but after all that, my doctor said, after 2 cycles, you can, start trying again. So I got my period back a few months later, and then after 2 cycles, we were cleared to start trying again. So we did. And I, of course, thought that it would happen the same exact way. I was expecting to get pregnant the same month, the first month we tried, just like last time, because why not? Why wouldn't it be the same? Well, I will never forget when I got my first negative pregnancy test that month. I don't know why I was expecting to be pregnant so bad and so much, and I was so incredibly disheartened when I got that negative test, and I just didn't think that it wouldn't happen right away. But I thought, you know what, maybe it was just a fluke. I'm going to keep trying, of course. So we kept trying, and after 6 months of getting negative pregnancy tests, I thought, oh my goodness, why isn't it happening? And so after that, I was kind of wondering if something was wrong with me, because I had miscarried, and why am I not getting pregnant? But I know it can take time, as I had previously known, but I thought, well, why would it happen the first time and then not happen the first time again? It was very confusing. So I decided, to do some things that might help. I bought some ovulation test strips where you pee on the stick and it gives you either a circle if you're not ovulating and a smiley face if you are. And so I decided to try that method just because maybe we were missing the window, if you know what I mean. And so after about 6 months of trying, we started the ovulation tests, and they were very helpful because I got to kind of see when exactly my body was ovulating, and we made sure to, try during those times. And, again, after the first month after taking an ovulation test, I thought for sure I was pregnant. I'd have all these like phantom signs, like, oh, I feel this, maybe I'm pregnant, all those things that your body can play tricks on you, your mind can play tricks on you. And sometimes PMS signs are sort of the same as pregnancy signs too, which is annoying. At least for me they were. So anyways, all that to say that the ovulation tests did not work the first month that we used them. In fact, I think that my hormones were kind of still recovering from that horrible miscarriage, because literally my cycles were so wonky in those first 6 months or more after miscarrying. Like literally my periods are always super regular. I remember before I got pregnant the first time, it was like 28 to 30 days, no more than 38 days, and usually no less than 28. My cycles were so on point. But, after, miscarrying, after getting my period back, and after trying again, like literally there were some months where I would have like a 34-day cycle. One month I even had like a 38-day cycle. So that's why I literally thought several times, and I think the month after I did the ovulation test, I was like convinced I was pregnant, and I kept getting these negative tests but not starting my period, and I was like, what is going on? And I really thought I was pregnant. Just turned out that I had a 38-day cycle. So needless to say, it was just such a weird thing, and it was so discouraging. And so after a couple months of taking ovulation tests, and trying more and more and not getting pregnant, I was beginning to feel like I said, something's wrong with me. And, the more we tried and the more we didn't get pregnant after ovulation tests and whatnot, I thought, okay, maybe I'm infertile now, or maybe my body is just not able to get pregnant anymore. And I was just beginning to worry and freak out. And so I actually called a fertility doctor and talked with them, and I was going to make an appointment, but they kind of told me like, well, we like to kind of wait to see people until they've been trying for a year. You can come if you want, but we usually like to wait until it's been a year. And we were really close to that, but not quite there. So I decided to wait a couple more months until we reached a year, and then I was going to make that appointment. But I decided just to give it more time. So that's what we did. And it was hard because our first angel baby that we lost, the due date was September 18th of 2017. And so when that day came and went and we still weren't pregnant, that was really, really hard, of course. And then, a couple months more went by, and it was a hard time. And those of you who've been through the TTC journey trying to conceive, you guys know it is not easy. It is very frustrating at times, heartbreaking, and confusing. And so I just kept, crying out to the Lord, and we kept trying and just trusting Him. Well, December came of 2017, so basically, the first Christmas without our angel baby, we would have had our baby. Baby would have been 3 months old that Christmas, and so it was a very hard Christmas for us. But I can remember around Christmas time knowing that I was about to ovulate. And so, my husband and I, of course, we were going to try. But a couple things happened. I will explain those right now. So I had been sort of surfing on Facebook and just kind of scrolling, and I found an article about the mother who'd been through miscarriage and just all the grieving that takes place and just everything that goes into that, and how sometimes it takes a mama a long time to grieve her loss, and how, it can be a lot more than people think. And so I remember sharing that article on Facebook and just being vulnerable, letting the world know that I was still grieving, because I've always been very open about my miscarriage and open about, just trying to conceive and my grieving process and all of that. And so I remember sharing an article, and someone had commented, a couple people actually had commented, suggesting to me to try this oil from Young Living, and it was called Progestins Plus. It was an essential oil blend, and there had been stories about it, working to help balance hormones and everything like that. It has natural progesterone in it from yams, so it's very natural, very holistic and all of that. And so I decided I would try anything at this point, because I've been trying ovulation tests, they weren't working, and all that. And so I ordered this oil. I was able to connect with someone, and they helped me order it. And I had been trying it actually for 2 months. So back to this December of 2017, I think I had been on the oil for, like 2 cycles. And I decided right before Christmas that I was going to take a break from both the ovulation tests and the oil, just for this ovulation period. I was beginning to be really emotional and kind of feeling anxious, and I just kind of needed a break from the whole scene. So what I did was, I had been using the oil every day, twice a day, morning and night. I have been rubbing it on my my forearms and then the inner part of my ankles every morning and night, because that's supposed to help with hormone balance. So I was doing that every day, just kind of hoping and praying for the best. And I did that, like I said, for 2 months, 2 cycles. And then right before Christmas, right before I knew I was going to ovulate, I decided to give myself a break from that oil and also from ovulation tests. So I decided, what, this month I'm not even going to know when I'm ovulating. I'll guess, but I'm not going to take the test. I'm not going to give myself that stress. I'm just going to have fun this Christmas, relax with my husband, and just give it to God. And if we get pregnant, we do. If not, then we don't. And maybe we'll go back to tests next month. So I just decided to take a break from everything. Oil, tests, everything that I was trying. Well, that Christmas came and went. I think I ovulated. I wasn't really sure, but we covered all of our bases, if you know what I mean. And we, just kind of waited. And I was just not really thinking much about it. And I can remember about, I don't know, a week and a half later, maybe a week and a half later. It was right after the New Year. So I think it was actually a week after, I would say maybe around January 7th, 6th or 7th. I was laying in bed that night, and I knew that I was going to start my period, or I was due to start my cycle in about 3 days. And I thought, well, I don't really want to take a pregnancy test. I'd rather just wait to see if I start my period, because I found that it's sometimes easier to do that, to wait until I start my period instead of getting a negative test result. Because those of you who are addicted to pregnancy tests like I was a lot, it's hard to get that negative. And so it's almost easier. I mean, it's still hard, but to me, it's almost easier just to start my period and not get the negative. So I was laying in bed wondering, what should I do? I had tests in the bathroom, in my cupboard waiting for me, clear blue pregnancy tests. Actually, no, I think they were first response that I had waiting for me. And I thought, well, I could save them for another month, or I could take them this month. And I thought, well, I'm not due for 3 more days to start my period. However, I was like, part of me just wants to know if I'm pregnant or not. It doesn't really matter. I didn't really care. Again, I was relaxed this month. I was kind of I had gone off my Progestins Plus oil, not, because there was anything wrong with it. I just was I want to just take a little bit of a break from everything, including that oil and, like I said, the tests. And so I was trying to just make this month more relaxed. And I thought, well, it would still be nice to know if I'm pregnant, just because, it's nice to just get it out of the way. So I don't have to, if I get a negative, then yeah, it'll be hard, but I'll just expect my period to come and I won't be worried anymore. So that next morning, after a lot of praying and just surrendering to God, saying, God, you know what? You know the timing of when I'm going to have a baby. You know when it's going to happen, and it's in your hands, and I give it to you, and I know you're going to give me a rainbow baby one day. It may not be my timing, so here it is. I remember going through that prayer with the Lord, just surrendering to him. And I woke up that morning and I told my husband I would like to take a test. So we actually filmed our live test. We actually did that a lot. Even when they were negative, we would film them and, you know, upload, obviously not until the one that we wanted to upload. But anyways, long story short, we took a pregnancy test and I was fully expecting it to be negative, and it was positive. We were pregnant. I couldn't believe it, you guys. This was January 8th, I believe, of 2018 that we found out we were pregnant with our rainbow baby. And that, speaking of which, my rainbow baby needed me, so I had to go tend to her needs, and now I am back to finish the story. So yeah, I was overwhelmed with shock and excitement that we were finally pregnant with our sweet little girl. Well, we didn't know she was a girl at the time, but she is, and her name is Annabella. And like I said, we have our channel where we uploaded our pregnancy test live video, and you can see how literally shocked and utterly surprised I was by that positive result. So you should definitely go check that out too. But I wanted to just kind of tell you guys something interesting about this too. And we'll get to our TTC tips, I promise. So the coolest thing about this pregnancy and the way that the Lord timed this, I'm in awe of this. Every time I talk about it, I just get goosebumps because it's just so amazing how the Lord orchestrated. So, you know how I told you that I surrendered it all to the Lord and just put it in his hands, and then that morning I found out I was pregnant. Well, when we went to our ultrasound and found out everything was okay, we found out that the due date of our rainbow baby was September 18th of 2018, which, if you remember, that is the exact same due date of our angel baby we had lost the previous year. So literally, they had the exact same due date, and that still baffles me to this day that the Lord was just so gracious and so sweet to allow that to happen. So I praise him every day for our rainbow baby, and that we were able to conceive her, and it was the most amazing feeling to welcome her into the world on September 13th of 2018. But I wanted to get into some TTC tips for you beautiful mamas who have been trying to conceive or who have been on this journey before, and maybe you have friends who are on this journey now. But I just want to share with you a few things that have helped me. First of all, the first tip I have is, if you believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, I encourage you, as you're on your TTC journey, to trust in him. It is way easier said than done, but trusting the Lord is something that really got me through this hard journey that I was on. And especially this last month where I said I gave everything to the Lord, even though it was hard. I trusted his timing and sort of, you know, what his word has promised, that he who promised is faithful. And I trusted him. And I really think that helped me to be in the right mindset and just to relax and just surrender to him. So I do encourage you to trust the Lord on your TTC journey. I know it's not easy, mama. I know. And my heart goes out to anyone who is struggling with trying to conceive or who's been through miscarriage. I know the feeling, and I am sending you hugs from here because it is not easy. But I want you to know that the Lord knows your heart and knows how you feel as well, and he's with you in your pain. And he wants you to trust that he knows the plans that he has for you, and there are plans to prosper you and not to harm you, and to give you a hope and a future. So I encourage you to trust the Lord. The next tip I have for you is I want to show you right now this oil. I'm holding it up to the camera. This is Progessence Plus. This is the oil I was talking to you about that I was recommended when I was talking on Facebook about my miscarriage and how a lot of miscarriages, I remember one thing that article said was that a lot of miscarriages are caused by a lack of progesterone, that a woman doesn't even realize that she has low progesterone in her body when she is pregnant. And so this, what I call my miracle oil, because I really believe it was sent to me from the Lord, this has natural progesterone in it, like I said. It is from Young Living. It smells beautiful. It has oils in it like frankincense and cedarwood bark and peppermint and a bunch of other things. But basically, it's really calming as well as uplifting, because the scent of the frankincense just relaxes you and the scent of the peppermint just uplifts you. So that's what I feel when I put it on. But like I told you guys, I used this for a couple of months before we conceived our baby. And yes, I stopped using it right before or right around the time of ovulation, but I had already been using it. And so my cycles had regulated. I didn't mention this before, but I had had the few cycles that I had when I was using this oil were regular, and they were the first regular cycles I'd had since my miscarriage. So I mentioned I had really long cycles after the miscarriage because I think my hormones needed to regulate. But when I started using this oil, the couple cycles after that I had were 30 days on the dot. They were completely like timed on the dot. Like I literally, they started on the 12th. I think I had 3 cycles in a row that started on the 12th of the month. And I really do attribute that. I really do give the credit of that to Progestins Plus. So if you're interested in learning more about this oil, there's a lot to this oil. I want to actually make a whole nother video on more details of this oil, but for now I just want to say that it is seriously amazing. And again, as I said in the beginning, this is just my experience and my story, and I'm by no means a doctor, and I'm not telling you this oil is going to get you pregnant, so please don't take me wrong here. But what I am saying is that it is worth a shot if you maybe need some help just balancing your hormones or maybe regulating your cycles. It can help with those things. I'm not guaranteeing anything by any means, but I am saying that it is a good natural sort of remedy and thing that you can try. I know as TTC women that have been on this journey, we know that we are willing to try anything, and sometimes it takes a lot of different things and a lot of different steps in order to find what works for us. But this is just what worked for me. So if you're interested in learning more about Progestins Plus, or you're interested in, finding out where to purchase it, I'm gonna leave my Instagram in the description box. You can go and follow me on Instagram, and you can direct message me with any questions that you have. I will be happy to help you along the way and help you if you're interested in learning more. So that is my second tip for you, is to maybe learn more about Progestins Plus, because I really do believe that it was one of the reasons why I was able to conceive. My third and final tip for you who are on this TTC journey, or if you know anybody who is, honestly, what I found the most helpful was just to relax with my husband. I know this is also easier said than done, but sometimes, as you guys probably know who've been there, when you're trying to have a baby, you're trying so hard to get pregnant, you really want it, intimacy with your partner, if I can just go there, I will go there. Intimacy with your partner can become very mundane and become sort of routine, or, all the romance can sort of be taken out of it because you're just like, okay, I'm ovulating, let's do it, like, let's do it, and then let's just see what happens, and it becomes all about trying to get pregnant. And I really, when I took some time in December to kind of, just take a break from the things that we've been doing and the stressors and the things that are making me anxious, it really made a difference because I was able to focus on just relaxing, enjoying my husband, enjoying our time, enjoying Christmas. Our anniversary is also around Christmas, so that whole few days surrounding Christmas was so exciting for us. I really do believe I ovulated around that time, so we were able to just not think about it, but yet enjoy our time together and just not have any thoughts of, I'm sure, I know I thought in my mind about trying to get pregnant. Obviously, it's impossible not to think about it, but I was just able to focus more on my husband and enjoying him as opposed to trying to, be intimate with him during my ovulation, if that makes sense. So I was just kind of, guesstimating. Who knows when I'm ovulating, but let's just have fun and see what happens. So that was really helpful for us, is just to relax and enjoy each other. So I hope that helps you. And I really hope this video was helpful for you guys today. I hope it encouraged somebody. I know, like I said, that my experience is probably much different than you. And honestly, I know that for most mamas that are on this TTC journey, this long journey, I'm sure for a lot of you, it was about a year between our miscarriage and our pregnancy with our rainbow baby. So, when all was said and done with all the miscarriage stuff, it was a year. I know that to a lot of you who are on this TTC journey, you've been trying a lot longer than we did. And so I'm not here to make it look like I was trying for so long. I want you guys to know that I admire you, and my prayers are with you. If you have been trying for 2, 3, 4, 5+ years, I cannot even imagine that. And I just want you to know that you're my hero, and I look up to you, and you're strong, and you're amazing, and you're beautiful. But I just want you to know that even though I may not understand how it feels to be trying longer than a year. I do understand a little bit of the TTC journey and the frustration and the heartache that goes along with it. And I just want you to know, from one mama to another, from one woman to another, that you're not alone and that I've been there. And I hope this video can just help you understand that you are not alone. Again, I'll say it because I want you to know that other people struggle too, and the struggles you have, I have also felt even just a little bit of that. And so if you need a chat or if you just need someone who understands, I am here. Feel free to message me again on Instagram or Facebook. I'm Alyssa Hicks on Facebook and Richly Blessed Mama on Instagram. Again, I'm going to link that down below in the description box. But please feel free to talk to me because I want to be here for you. And I don't know what it's like to try longer than a year, but I want you to know that my heart goes out to you and my prayers are always with you. And if you have gone through a miscarriage, again, same thing. I really want to talk with you. If you need to just know that someone understands your pain and your grief, I definitely do. But I just wanted to let you guys know today that there are things that can help, and I hope that something I said to you today has encouraged you or maybe helped you to figure out what you might be able to do on your journey to getting pregnant with either your first baby or your rainbow baby or whatever that looks like for you. So I appreciate you guys taking your time out of your day to be with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye, guys!